two biggest winners of the NFL draft this year. We are going to share our top two teams that we felt like dominated the NFL draft. All right. So, Tyler, if you want to go first, kick us off.
All right. It's unfortunate to say this, from an NFL perspective. I'm not an Eagles fan, never will be. The Eagles absolutely murdered this draft. They bolstered their team, their defense to unbelievable heights with the talent that they grabbed at very like picks that they were supposed to go a lot higher. Jalen Carter was supposed to be at one point, he was the number one talent. Obviously, a lot of character issues, all the off-field stuff brought him down to the ninth pick, but I thought the Eagles getting him at 9 was unbelievable value. And then them also picking up Nolan Smith at pick 30, who ran a 4.4 as a linebacker. The dude is incredibly athletic and he has so much upside. I think a lot of people were concerned about his fit and how he was a unique specimen, a little different. So I think that's why he slid a little bit. But to get two guys like that, going into next year, their defense has two amazingly high upside guys that I think could really bolster their defense. And then lastly,
They did that
they
too.
traded a fourth round pick and got one of the most talented running backs in the league in DeAndre Swift. Yes, he's had injury concerns. The Lions, for some reason, just really don't like him. So they got rid of DeAndre Swift and they got him for a fourth round pick. So basically nothing. A dude who potentially is a top 5 talent when he's healthy. He's incredible. I think it's going to be a really good weapon for Jalen Hurts. Next up, I think they did an incredible job as well. I'm a little biased, obviously, being a Steelers fan, but my God, aggressive was the word to describe Pittsburgh. They got some excellent value. Moving ahead from 17 to 14 to get their very, bad offensive line filled in with Broderick Jones. Apparently, he was the second best, offensive lineman in the draft, and I think, you know, to get him that low in the draft was a really good move to move up and get him. And then also bringing in Joey Porter Jr. Obviously the Steelers have ties to the original Joey Porter. He was supposed to be a first round pick, even mentioned in the teens. To get him, in the second, the first round or first pick in the second, super excited to fill that big hole in their secondary, and then also getting a guy in I believe the third round, tight end Darnell Washington, who has probably the most upside we've seen in a long time with tight ends. He's very raw. He has injury history, but he's 6'7" and has the potential to dominate a game. So I'm super excited for that. And then also they picked up a nice linebacker, Nick Herbig, give them some more depth to their
Badger.
linebacking.
Badger.
Yep.
Nick
So
Herbig's a
they
Badger.
super excited for the Steelers. I think they had a grade A. I'd also give honestly the Eagles an A+ for this year.
Awesome. Yeah, I got a couple other people that I felt won the draft, and I got another homer pick in there as well. But overall, I think the Colts had a phenomenal draft. The mold of the Colts over the past couple of seasons is a good team without the quarterback to be able to allow them to take that next
Yeah,
step.
that's so true.
That's something that's been a problem for the Colts. I really feel like for the past decade, ever since they lost Andrew Luck, they've really, really struggled to get a lot of traction going from the quarterback position with Carson Wentz, with Matt Ryan, with Phillip Rivers, with guys that are just there to fill in, right?
Yep.
Anthony Richardson is that dude. He is that dude. He is Lamar
Super
Jackson.
raw.
He is Cam Newton. He has a big arm. He's got athletic ability. What he was able to do at the NFL Combine is huge. I loved Anthony Richardson. I'm so excited the Colts drafted him. I was at a draft party with a couple of people and I was like, take him. Take Anthony Richardson. Take Anthony Richardson. And that's exactly what they did. It's what the Colts needed to do. They kind of broke their mold. They went out on a limb and they really took that risk to get them to
Yep.
the next level. And I
I think
love it.
I think it was worth it in the end to take that risk, on a guy who has potential upside, being in the top 10 within a few years, rather than taking a Will Levis who he's solid. He could be a good starter right away, but the upside potential with Anthony Richardson, I think, is the direction that the Colts needed to go. They've been stuck with mediocrity the last 4 years, and like you said, all those revolving door of quarterbacks. People are sick of that in Indy, so I think Indy made a really awesome pick taking that
I
risk.
think I think teams saw what happened with Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? I think teams saw that, like how he fell so late in the draft. And people were worried about him, about his arm. I know he's a runner, but is he a quarterback? This and that. And when the Ravens took their chance on him and really thrust him into that starting level, and what Lamar Jackson's been able to do has wowed so many people. I don't think teams wanted to let Anthony Richardson fall in that same way. Anthony Richardson's going to be incredible for the Colts, and I'm excited. My second big win of the draft is the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, I'm a homer, but let's go Packers. How about drafting an absolute freaking stud out of Iowa for their other defensive line position and for their outside edge position, for their outside edge rush. Rashawn Gary is going to be battling a little bit of injury coming back from an ACL, so they wanted to booster that side of the pass rush. On top of that, they have Preston Smith to complement on the other side. Preston Smith, not as much of a pass rusher, a lot more of a run containment type of guy, but he is a phenomenal linebacker that does all the dirty work. They also drafted another defensive tackle to kind of bolster that defensive line, which I think is going to be huge. And on top of that, Aaron Rodgers is not going to be happy. The Packers drafting two extraordinarily talented tight ends. Luke Musgrave is going to be an absolute monster. We haven't seen an athletic tight end since we got Jermichael Finley. And I think that it's going to be something that's going to be really, really different to have that.
Wait, don't mess with the big dog, Mercedes Lewis.
It's different to have that athletic threat, that catch and run threat over the middle of the field. Packers have not had that in years. And on top of that, Jaden Reed, an electric punt returner, an electric receiver, elite speed. And I think, again, the Packers just won so many ways, getting Jordan Love some ability with Tucker Kraft also at tight end. They drafted another defensive line with Colby Wooden from Auburn. And I'm just very excited about what the Packers have done. Not only are they setting Jordan Love up for success, they have a great coach to be able to back Jordan Love. They have a solid defense to be able to back Jordan Love. The Packers are going to be a very interesting team heading into 2023. Obviously, a lot of eyes are going to be on Jordan Love and what he's going to be able to do, but the team looks excited. The team looks hungry. They're young. They have like hardly anybody that's over the age of 25 in that rotation, so it's going to be really interesting. They are going to be young and they're going to be hungry. I could see it being like a 500 season, maybe a little bit above for the Packers, but it's going to be really, really fun to watch them and watch them grow as a team and really see what kind of leap that Jordan Love takes in his first real year at quarterback.
Awesome. We'll put it in the comments. What are your guys' thoughts? Were these four teams the winners of the draft, or do you have someone else that you thought won the draft as well? Put it in the comments. We love y'all. Thanks.
Like, comment, subscribe.